Hello and welcome to Let's Talk with Bishop R.C. Blakes. R.C. is an author, empowerment teacher, and the proud pastor of the New Home Ministries of New Orleans, Louisiana and Houston, Texas. His message circles the globe. His conversational and candid approach to challenging content makes him a relevant voice to all generations. Get ready for a life-changing transformational conversation.
Hello. This is R.C. Blakes, and you know I'm always excited to be able to come and to talk with you. Now, I need you to invite some others to come into this conversation today. I think it's really going to be helpful. Now, I'll have to admit to you out of the gate, it's probably not the easiest conversation that I've had with you, but it's probably one of the most necessary conversations, especially for those of you that are really striving to build strong, lifelong, healthy, and wholesome relationships. And I guess I would title this one, or I will title this one, some silent enemies of relational connection. Not attraction, but connection. In other words, what are some of the things that are working against you and another healthy, good person? What's preventing the connection? You know, the reasons for most relationships that seem to never get off of the ground. And who is this conversation for? It's for those of you who have, been attracted to good people, and those good people were attracted to you, but somehow you've never been able to really see the relationships get off of the ground. You never got beyond the attraction stage. You never really got to the point that it turned into a connection. And in a lot of cases, the puzzling and troubling aspects of the various scenarios that you've been in is that these situations begin with almost ideal chemistry. You know, this person seems to have everything you want. Most of the physical stuff, the spiritual stuff, the intellectual stuff. And it starts off with this ideal chemistry and this hopefulness. So why is it that it just fizzled out? Why do two good people who are mutually attracted seem to be equally yoked? Why do these relationships or these attractions, why do they fizzle out before they turn into actual connections? Why do so many connections misfire? Because that's what I'm hearing a lot. I don't understand. It just, every time I get into a situation with somebody, it's like all of a sudden it's over. They disappear. Well, there are often unspoken issues that disrupted the connection. You see, sometimes there are issues that manifest before there's enough history to make the other person feel close enough to address the issue. Therefore, most people just move on. I guess it would be, it's like if we don't pay attention to some of the things that I'm going to share today, in the initial stages of the attraction, we can create scenarios with the person that we don't have enough history with to put them in a position where they would feel comfortable enough to say, well, A, B, and C is an issue for me. So rather than, it would almost be like walking into someone's home and, okay, here's a good one. it would be like, someone that you just met having something coming out of their coming out of their nose. Well, you just met them. Now there are some people who have the kind of personality that they'll say, hey man, something coming out of your nose. But most people are just going to smile that off and move on and let someone that's closer to them reveal to them that, something's coming out of your nose. Well, I think what I'm going to share with you today is similar to that. If you don't address these issues personally, and if we don't think about some of the things that I'm going to share with you today, you put new people that you are attracted to and they are attracted to you, you put them in a position where these things become silent killers of the connection, and they don't have the history. Therefore, they don't feel like they have the right or the leverage to be able to say to you, maybe you should check this. You know what I'm saying? So let's go. All right, y'all ready? Let's go. Let's go. How did I title this? Silent Killers of Relational, or Silent Enemies of Relational Attraction. Things that break up two people who otherwise should make an amazing pairing. Number one, I'm starting out the top of the list. Hygiene. Hygiene. There are some of us, male and female, this is for everybody tonight, that, we have a great resume. We look excellent on paper. We're amazing people, spiritual, intellectual, visionary, all of that, the whole package. But nobody ever really taught us to tend to our hygiene. And hygiene, and I'm not saying this, please understand, I'm not saying this to be funny. This is really, 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 really not funny. I'm a pastor. You have to understand my context. I'm a pastor and I deal with a lot of people. And so I've had the situation to come where people were talking about a certain person's lack of hygiene, but nobody would go and talk to the person because they didn't feel close enough to that person to say that to them. Quite frankly, I guess most of the people that I pastor, I don't feel close enough to say that to them. I'll try to, make suggestions and hint around, but in this particular case, this was a person that worked very closely with me. And I pulled them aside and I mean, how can you say, your hygiene's not up to par? So I just said, you got to take a bath and you got to use the proper products. And he received it. It was a man. Of course, I wouldn't say that to a woman. I would let, my wife or somebody talk to a woman. But this was a brother. And he laughed and I laughed because, he thought it was funny the way I just came out and just said it. But most folk do not have people that, even family, many times don't feel close enough to you to say to you, you need to take a bath. So when you take a person that you're just meeting and they're interested in you, maybe y'all saw one another on the profiles or whatever, maybe the social media, or maybe they looked at you from across the church or wherever, in the school, wherever, and then they get close to you and then they discover that your hygiene is not up to par. Well, in most cases, they're going to have to do like the person just meeting the individual with the stuff coming out the nose. They're going to have to just kind of move on because there's no route to them being able to say that to you without feeling like they are overstepping their bounds or embarrassing you to a point that the chemistry of the relationship would be destroyed anyway. So it behooves what? All of us to take the time before we start talking about dating and all of these kinds of things to really tend to your hygiene. Listen to what the Bible says in Matthew 23:25 through 28. He says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye may clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres or graves, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. Even so, ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Now, why did I read that? It's because Jesus is making the point you should not only be clean outwardly, but you should be clean inwardly. Meaning what? The reverse is true. You should not only be clean inwardly, you should not only have a good heart and be a great person, you should tend to the external cleanliness of your life. Because this is a greater issue than a lot of people realize. This is a I promise you, if we could take an honest poll without people being disrespectful, I just believe that the numbers would be astronomical relative to how many people have walked away from great people because their hygiene wasn't up to par. You see, you have levels of hygiene. You have personal hygiene, and that's how you honor yourself, meaning there's a certain way I'm going to keep myself clean if nobody else is around. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a man that lives in the South. So it's not uncommon for me to take 2 or 3 showers a day, depending on what I'm doing. But typically, I'm going to take at least 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. When you're in 100-degree plus heat, you got to take baths. You got to have deodorant, and you got to use products. But that's the way I'm going to honor myself personally. So I think all of us need to start with, what is my personal hygiene like? How do I tend to my cleanliness just for me? And if you come back with the answer that if I'm by myself for a whole week, I don't take a bath, but every 3-4 days, mm, yeah, hey, I know we got people that got their own beliefs about that kind of stuff, but hey, well, let it be. You got personal hygiene, how you honor yourself. You let her be. You have social hygiene, how you present yourself to the world. In other words, um, in as much as I'm going to take 2 or 3 baths, 2 or 3 showers a day in my within my personal space, if I know that I'm going to be around people, you can bump that up a notch or two. Because many times your hygiene or the lack thereof meets people long before you do. Sometimes people can smell you before they can hear you. Or before, come on now, come on. And this is a major issue. Your personal hygiene, your social hygiene. So watch this. When you meet a person of a romantic attraction, and they realize that your social hygiene is not up to par, well, what happens in the mind of that person? You have personal hygiene, you have social hygiene, but then you have a whole different level of hygiene, which is, in the parameters of relationships between men and women, marriage, to be specific, sexual hygiene. Well, if your social hygiene as a man is horrible, and this woman is offended, or your hygiene is offensive, or this man is your hygiene as a woman is offensive to this man, socially y'all just meeting and talking, and it's like all of this stuff is going on. Well, what happens? They can only imagine what the sexual hygiene is like. And how do you say that? How do you say that when you've just met a person? All right, number 2. Why are great people that should make great connections, why are these people misfiring? What's canceling the relational connection? Hygiene could be an answer. Number 2, somebody's talking too much. When a person is sincerely searching for a soul connection, they need to be heard. You see, there's a rhythm to communication. And sometimes we get so excited and we don't mean any harm, but nobody's ever said this to us. We just talk too much. And it's like you're constantly, you're just rapid firing. You're just talking. And this person is really interested. But here's the reality. A person cannot really learn what they need to know about you unless you stop to allow them to speak, ask questions. Talking too much is a clear sign, watch this, or may come across as a clear sign that you are not hearing and therefore are probably not interested in the person you're talking too much to. And people are what? Interested in people that are interested in them. And if you're interested in me, you want to know something about me. You can't learn anything about me if you're doing all of the talking. If you're a brother and you have an awesome lady here, man, that you're entertaining and you're hoping that this could be wifey. You're looking for your wife. Well, I know as men we like to impress our women. That holds true. I mean, I'm married, going on 28 years now, and I still try to impress my wife. She's not always impressed, but I be trying. But so my point is, sometimes in the beginning stages of an attraction, as men, sometimes we just ramble on. We talk about ourselves and what we accomplished and what we got, and we think that that's going to be impressive. And more times than not, if you have the right woman that's with you and is entertaining you for the right reasons, she's not, she's interested in what you've accomplished and what you got and what you're doing. She wants to know that you're a man that's, on your mission, but she's not going to be solely attracted to you. She's not going to connect with you just because of that. And when you find yourself over talking and you never allow her to ask questions or to have a word, um, it causes that interest to drop drastically. The Bible says in Proverbs 18:2, fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions. Fools are not listening or looking for, not listening for understanding. Their delight is just in airing their own opinions, what they think of themselves, what they want everybody to know about them. And quite often, this is why people get scares, because again, people are interested in people who are interested in them. Constant chatter is unattractive, especially when you're a woman. Now, you need to go back and listen to some of my father-daughter talk stuff, read the book, Queenology, because it's not even wise for a woman to talk too much. And when a man is really interested in a woman, and he's thinking about this possibly going somewhere serious, I don't mean to be offensive, but he's not listening for a chatterbox. The last thing a man wants is a woman that's just constantly chirping. Uh-uh. Mm-mm. 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 Communication is rhythmic. It's rhythmic. You talk a little, you pause, you ask, "What's your opinion? What do you think about that?" Or what are your interests? Communication is not bang, 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 and just, anybody that is really searching for a soul connection with someone is not going to hang around long with that. Now, somebody's just there because they're looking for some sexual experience. They'll put up with all of your chatter. They'll chime in wherever they can get in. They'll tell you what you want to hear. And the most horrible thing is that you can learn nothing about a person while you're talking. You have to shut up and listen to really learn about a person. But in a lot of cases, people have moved on because the talking was just over the top. It was just entirely too much. Now here's number 3. Here's another one. that I find people make this mistake a lot, and they don't really mean any harm, but it's just dangerous. And here it is, number three. You have this. You exercise this, what I call, you're trying to be humorous, you're trying to be funny, but not realizing that your brand of funny is insensitive to the individual. It's like it's like the white guy trying to make black jokes in a black party, or the black guy trying to make white jokes in a white party. Well, just stay away from that. That's too dangerous. You don't necessarily know these. In most cases, you don't know these people well enough to make these kinds of jokes. And though you may not mean any harm, it may do harm, because words are triggers. That's why I try my best to think about how to say stuff. That's why I pause and I take my time and I talk slowly, because I understand a lot of people listen to me. And the last thing, and I've been guilty of it before, saying things unintentionally that triggered people. So when you're just meeting a person, you have to be careful with, the humor, because you don't know what that person's history is. You don't know what their tolerance level is for your brand of humor. You don't even know if your brand of humor resonates with them, or if it offends them. So to come out of the gate, it's like some of my guys, I'm going to say young guys, but even old guys do this. They come out of the gate on a date making sexual jokes, and then they wonder why the woman why the woman walked out of there and got an Uber and left. You're not supposed to take and make no sexual jokes as a man on no first date with a woman you don't even know. I mean, if you that kind of guy, you just running making sexual jokes, I mean, I hope you rise above that. But if that's your thing, do that with your fellas. You don't do that on the first date with a woman that you think could possibly be the one. Because not being empathetic and sensitive to the other person's experiences and temperament may lead to offending them unaware. Anybody ever been here? Am I in this room by myself? Has anybody ever been here where you had a situation where somebody was just using completely inappropriate humor, on a first or second date, maybe even a third date, and it just did not sit well with you, and it caused you to lose all interest? Anybody here? In James chapter 3 and verse 2, it says, "For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect or mature man, and able also to bridle the whole body." If you can control your mouth and not say everything, stop trying to be funny. Sometimes you're trying to, create a light moment, and you really usher in heaviness when your humor is insensitive. Therefore, I think we should live, by this rule when it comes down to relationships. Don't take liberties to joke and make fun before you know the person and they know you. Like, there are things I'll say at the church I pastor, because they know me. They've known me for 58 years, literally. Some of them have known me all of my life. I pastor people who were there when I was born. So they know me. You know what I'm saying? So if I say something, they know how to take that. I've been there all my life. So there's a context there that is different than this context. When I'm in the digital space, there's so far I'm going and no further, because I don't know who's on the other side of this camera. I don't know what the sensibilities are. I don't know what the belief system is. In my church, I know that we all believe fundamental things. We all share the same views on a lot of different things. So I think we'd be wise to use this wisdom in our dating. Don't take liberties to joke and make fun before you know the person and they know you. Now let me show you um, how sisters make a mistake of this. And sometimes you make this mistake even after you have a relationship with the man and even after you've gotten married, you know, but it's definitely a no-no. Well, it's really always a no-no what I'm getting ready to lay out for you. You don't ever take your man in a public situation, in a group situation, and make him the butt of your humor. In other words, you're trying to make everybody laugh, but you're gonna use something relative to your man as the punchline for everybody's laughter. You don't do that to no brother, and you definitely don't do that to no man that you just met. And you're trying to get to know him, and he seems to be a great guy, and now you all get in this double, triple date thing or whatever, and maybe you're making fun about maybe his car or whatever, maybe something the two of you discuss privately, about maybe he has six toes or something on one foot, and then you take that personal information and you go into a group context and you say some of us got six toes, huh? I ain't calling no names. uh-uh. Mm. Mm-mm. You don't do that to your brother. When you don't do that to a brother. When you're married to a man, you don't go out into no family reunion and joking about stuff, because a man, you have to understand, a man's pride is important to him, and there are things a man will share with you that he ain't sharing with nobody else. And when you take intimate things that are supposed to be confined to the two of you, and you make that, you use that to draw laughter from others, and he's at the center of that, he's centric to that, you're going to lose him. You're going to lose him. Listen to what Proverbs 18:19 says. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. In other words, once you've turned a person off, male or female, and you've offended them with your humor, intentionally or unintentionally, chances are slim to none that they're ever going to really be able to open their heart to you again. And if this happens in the beginning stages of the attraction, more than likely they just disappear. And now in that case, they may be so offended they may actually tell you they're gone and why they're gone. And you know, chances are slim to none that you're going to be able to recapture their interest in you. Now, this happens after a relationship has started, that you're using, inappropriate humor or insensitive humor that offends them. What it does then is it begins to diminish the strength of the connection, and it begins to create problems within the relationship. And sometimes you don't understand where it's coming from. It's coming from the fact that you are a person that exercises inappropriate humor, and you don't know how far to go. And therefore, you should probably stop joking. You're not a comedian. Stop joking. Stop joking. Right? Because the last thing you want is to offend somebody that you're really striving to endear to you. So when you're just getting to know a person, stay away from all of the jokes and all of that kind of stuff. Leave that alone, man. Leave that alone, unless it's some of the stuff, why the chicken crossed the road, some real, you know what I'm talking about, some real light, easy going elementary school type. But even at that, man, just kind of leave that alone, because you never know if people are going to get offended or not. Um, Now, number 4. Oh, here's a big one. Here's a big one. People are, number 4, people are destroying the connection or the potential for relational connection in the early days of the attraction because, watch this, you're making the other person play second fiddle to your cell phone. You are all on a date and you're 80% of the time you're staring into the screen. This man is trying to get to know you. This man is really trying to feel your spirit. This man is trying to, dive into your soul and understand your mind, your future, and where you're going. And all you can do is sit there and pop gum and look in this thing and constantly pushing these buttons on this thing, texting your girlfriends who can't even spell man. And you wondering why, any self-loving person is not going to sit around and date you and your cell phone at the same time. People are naturally interested in the people who are interested in them. And if we've been on a 2-hour date and you spent 90 minutes staring into a cell phone, texting your girlfriends, you should not be surprised why you don't hear from that man again once he drops you off at your house. You shouldn't be surprised. Some of y'all so addicted to these cell phones. These cell phones, I promise you, and I'm not judging you because, Lisa and I, we got out, we take care of a lot of business on our cell phones, but a lot of times we get caught up in a lot of foolishness too. That Instagram is a lot of foolishness, just crazy stuff, And there are times we got to just put those things aside because even as a married couple, man, you sit there, we sit in the bed for hours, and you're more glued to other people's lives than you are to strengthening your own. Well, how much worse is that when somebody's trying to get to know you and showing interest in you, and you don't have enough, understanding, respect to put the phone down and actually engage this person. You like that. You like that. You like that. And you wondering why this person doesn't want anything to do with you. Or you're a brother, you on a date with a woman and you playing what is it, the football y'all play online. I don't play it, so I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about. You trying to do all your stuff. You should have chosen another day to do your date because any self-respecting woman is not going to answer the phone for you no more. If you sat there a whole date staring at your phone, because number one, if I'm dating a new woman and she's sitting there on her phone the whole while, well, what's my assumption? My assumption is she got a man she's trying to talk to. All she's trying to get out of me right now is just some free dinner. So I'm gonna give her a free dinner, and I ain't gonna call her no more. Or vice versa. Romans chapter 12, verse 10 says, "Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, in honor." Watch this, preferring one another. When you are with a person that you're trying to develop a connection with, you must prefer them. Unless it's an emergency, child is sick or, somebody's gone to the hospital, somebody's died, something like that, or you have the kind of occupation that you're a doctor, you're constantly on call, or you explain that up front, I'm going to leave this on the table right here just in case because I am a physician or whatever, and prayerfully none of that will happen. Well, that's respectful, and anybody with good understanding can get that. But here you just sit around here. You're not preferring them. If you want to make a connection with someone, you must prefer them. If you ever meet me, and we have a chance to talk. Now, if I'm running through an airport and trying to get an airplane, I'm gonna speak to you and hug you and whatever, but I'm gonna have to keep it moving because I'm running to catch an airplane. But if we're in a situation where I can really talk, it doesn't matter how many people are around. I'm gonna stand there. I'm gonna look you in your eye and I'm gonna give you my attention. Doesn't matter that you got people waiting and all of this. I'm gonna give them the same respect. Why? It's because people love people that make them the priority for the time they are together. And if you're dating someone and you're glued to your phone, it's disrespectful. It sends the wrong message. It is dishonorable to have a person watch you push buttons when you're supposed to be getting to know them. You just a scrolling. You just a scrolling. You just a scrolling. Well, see, these are things that we don't think about, but these things are having a major impact on why we're not making connections with people. We just lack etiquette, quite honestly. And nobody's teaching us, nobody's told us. And then what we do is we just say, oh, they ghosted me. No, they left you. They left you because, you have personal issues you got to work out. I can't get that stuff out your nose, that stuff coming out your nose. I ain't close enough to you to tell you. So I'll let somebody else around you tell you you need to do something with your nose. But in the meantime, I'm moving on because this is not my cup of tea. Number 5. Oh, this is a good one right here. Why is it that, I can't seem to make a healthy connection with what looks like another healthy person? Your insecure and self-deprecating perspective of you, the way you can't receive a compliment. Everything you say about yourself is negative. That's a lot of work that nobody's signing up for. And a lot of times, because we've not done our personal work, we enter into or try to enter into relationships broken, and people can pick up on the levels and the extent of our brokenness by our conversation, especially our conversation about ourselves. I'm this, I'm too heavy. Oh, I just don't like my eyes. Oh, my hair is this, my hair is that. I'm just not tall enough. I'm not, and a man is on a date with you because he loves something about you. And the whole while he's sitting there, you're telling him about why you hate yourself. When you are insecure and talk down about yourself and your features and you so forth and so on, you turn people off, because if you don't love you, it's hard to get others to appreciate your value. And nobody wants to sign up to do the work to get another person to learn how to love themselves. Nobody wants that job. So here's the rule. Do not date until your self-esteem is adequate. Stay home, stay by yourself, go to your therapist, go to church, read the Bible, get you some self-help books until your self-esteem is adequate. Because if you have a low self-esteem, you will rarely connect with healthy people. Healthy people are not looking to join themselves to people who struggle with low self-esteem and have a poor self-view. Toxic people who only want to use you and abuse you would be attracted to you knowing that you're broken. So do not date until your self-esteem is adequate. It has turned more people off. And some of you can't help yourselves. Bruh man just giving you all of these compliments and sincerely giving them to you. You can't even receive it. Oh, I don't see myself that way. Learn how to just say thank you and be quiet. Learn how to just say thank you and be quiet. Learn how to say thank you and just be quiet. The Bible says if a fool keeps his mouth closed, nobody will know that he's lacking knowledge. When he opens his mouth is when everybody understands what's really going on within. Learn how to say thank you and just be quiet, and then realize that what you felt on the inside, that insecurity, is something you need to go and do some personal work on. Go and get somebody to help you. Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 4 through 7 says, Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Then said I, Our Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. But the Lord said unto me, Say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. He's struggling with this low self-esteem, his self-view, and it came out in his language. I can't speak, I'm a child. Because this spirit creates unnecessary comparisons. Failure to act. In other words, when you're struggling with that, you're going to create all of these comparisons, people trying to appreciate you, you comparing yourself to someone else. It's going to create the failure to act. You won't move on anything because you don't see yourself as worthy. And then it creates an inability to imagine others seeing you differently than you see yourself. So if you tell me, Pastor, you're great at this, and I say, oh, I'm no good at that at all. I'm no good at all. Well, I have work to do. And the work that I have to do is bigger than you. I have some personal work to do. Well, so it is in dating. You put the other person in a position that is impossible because they cannot fix your self-esteem. Only you can. And anybody that is healthy has done his or her work. And when they're dating you and you're coming out with all of this stuff, this negative stuff about yourself, they realize that you have work to do and the job is above their pay grade. And then watch this. Only have two more. Well, I guess this is number 6, right? This is number 6. Number 6. I'll hit this real quickly. Many times the connection fizzled out. The traction did not lead to connection because maybe you got to the second or third or maybe even the fourth date, but you made no attempt to get to know those people most important to that individual. Maybe you had a bad experience in the past where somebody's mama, her mama, or his mama, or her daddy, his mama, didn't treat you well. So now not all of a sudden, but that has led to you having this disposition about mothers and family that every time he brings up meeting his mom, you don't want to address it, and your countenance, your energy changes because you're seeing every mother, in the frame of the one that maybe did you wrong for whatever reason. If you're not interested in getting to know the people that are most important to another person, why waste their time? Nobody's trying to join to you to eliminate their foundation. The people that they've grown up with and people that's been in it. Now, I'm not talking about meeting exes and, I know a lot of y'all are liberal. Y'all know me. I'm old school. Y'all know me. I'm old school. Don't come here talking about you want to introduce me to your ex-man. I don't need to meet your ex-man unless you got children for him, and we're going to be in the house. I'm going to be in the house with his kids. Then I need to know him. But, don't come here tell me about your ex-man is your best friend. I know some of y'all got that, so I'm not, hey, you don't need to attack me on this. But my point is, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about family, I'm talking about friends, people trying to bring you into a situation where they live around the people they love and you show no interest. It's not good. What makes, like a lot of times I see women that, and I know this is going to rub a lot of y'all the wrong way, but you're going to just get rubbed today. Um, you start off with an attitude towards a man's mama and you want the man to love you. If a man is going to go against his mama for a woman he just met, a woman that gave birth to him and raised him and nurtured him, he gonna go against her for a woman he just met. What makes you think he's gonna be any more loyal to you? The love a man has for his mama is an indication of how much love he can have for a wife. I just told the church the other day, man, two most important women in my world are my wife and my mama, and in that order. My mama taught me that your wife comes first. But if you're a woman and you trying to, you creating tension between a man and his mama, no, no. That ain't gonna work. Now, I ain't saying mamas are always right because they're not always right. Sometimes mamas are absolutely wrong. But you know what you got to do? As that man's woman, you got to be wise enough to stay out of that. Let that man see that for himself and let that man and his mama deal with that. And if he ain't man enough to deal with his mama when his mama's wrong, well, that's another issue altogether. But don't be in the middle of that. Don't destroy your own relationship trying to break up something that is indestructible. A man's love for his mama, you can't do nothing with that. You can't compete with that. Why would you even try? If you play your role, he's going to have a different kind of love for you that's going to be equally as strong or maybe even greater. Now, okay, I'll leave that alone. Number 7, and I'm out. I'm getting in trouble now. But that's why homie ain't call you back. That's why sister girl ain't call you back. You ain't interested in meeting her dad? You talking all this big talk about how you want her and you love her and she wifey, and you don't want to meet her dad? You have something against her brothers? These are the people that have protected her and will protect her if y'all work out or not. Number 7. Why did the connection not happen? I'll give it to you. Number 7. God broke it up. Felt like I was in church right there. Almost started shouting. It didn't work out because God broke it up. God broke it up. This was a wolf in sheep's clothing, and you thought you had. God broke it up. And the Bible says in 1 John 2:19, they went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. God broke it up. You say they walked out. I say God kicked them out. God broke it up. So I hope this helps. I gotta go somewhere. So I gotta get off of here. I hope this helps. And I want you to really just think more about this. Why are these connections not, going the distance? God will give you more wisdom relative to this. Now, Father, I thank you for every person that's under the sound of my voice. Let the words that I've spoken plant in their hearts, and let someone, dear God, gather and gain insight and understanding about their lives and about their dating process and about their connections. Father, I pray in Jesus' name that you will make all of us the better because we've spent this time together having this discussion. In Jesus' name, amen. Now listen, you know what I need you to do. Don't forget to go to my website, check out all of my online programs. I promise you, they will bless you. Don't sleep on those. Don't sleep on those. Please don't sleep on those. They will bless you. Go to Amazon, check out all of my books. and you support the ministry in that way. It's such a blessing. I want to thank all of you that have sown into the ministry today. We love you. Lisa and I love you. Those of you that need counseling, go to the description and follow the link, BetterHelp Counseling. Do all of your personal research and see if it's something that works for you. I'm not a counselor. I've used BetterHelp for years, and I've gotten more positives, many more positives than negatives. But you have to figure out if it works for you. If you need that, I think it is a great option. Now, what am I missing? Don't forget to sign up for the mailing list when you go by the website. And just know that Lisa and I love you, and we thank God for you. Also remember, Father-Daughter Talk, Queenology, and Kingology are now available in audio version. For those of you that have been asking for that, they're available in audio version. So go to Audible, which is, I think, from Amazon, the audio book thing. Go to Audible and pick up one or two or three of those and be blessed. We love you. We thank God for you. You are on top and you're going higher. God has more in store for you. So guess what? We will see you at the top. God bless you. Until next time.
We here at RC Blakes Ministries want to thank you for spending this time with us today. RC and Lisa are always honored to have you with us. Don't forget to reach out to us by visiting our website at www.rcblakes.com. While you're there, you may join our mailing list and receive a free download of The Laws of Manifesting Your Vision by RC Blakes. Also look at all of the online programs by RC. You may find all books written by RC and Lisa. Once again, all of us here at RC Blakes Ministries want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And as we always say, see you at the top. Hey, be on the lookout for the release of 3 of RC Blakes' books, The Father-Daughter Talk, Queenology, and Kingology. Now I'm talking the audio versions of these books. They have been done and currently being packaged for you. So if you haven't read any of the books, you can get to listen to the reading of the books, and guess what? You can listen on the go. Now don't forget, it's the audio versions of The Father-Daughter Talk, Queenology, and Kingology by RC Blakes. Be on the lookout, be on the listen out, and watch this space.